Hey everyone, this is Fulton at LASR, Lute Air Student Radio. This is my music room. This is the second episode. Today is the 29th of September, and let's dig in. So the first album I listened to is Robbie Robertson and the Red Road, music for the Native Americans. It's a soundtrack he did for a documentary back in the 90s. Super amazing stuff. Robbie Robertson of the band, of course, he digs into like indigenous music. He is indigenous himself, but he gets some indigenous musicians on, and it just blends like pop, indigenous music, and kind of like the Tom Waitsy, like eerie soundscape of the city, but in the plains or in the tundra of, you know, the First Nations. And he just really dives into it. It's a really strong album. My dad kept on telling me to listen to it, and I finally did last night. And I must say, it is amazing. The instrumental tracks really stand out to me, especially Coyote Dance, the one that opens it. It really sets the scene for the whole album. And also, last night, I listened to Neil Young and the Stray Gators' Tuscaloosa, a live album. Came out last year, capturing Neil Young in the early to mid-'70s. I'm a sucker for pedal steel guitar, and Ben Keith, who plays on this album, is an absolute legend. It's a 2 LP, super good. It sounds amazing, first of all, for a live recording. And, you know, you just get those pedal steel textures, and the keys are just amazing, especially Old Man and Heart of Gold. Like, you think, oh, it's just going to be Neil and his guitar, but actually, you know, pedal steel guitar, drums, bass, everything, all contributing. And then my favorite thing about this record is going to have to be the etching on side 4. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that. But, yeah, Neil Young and Stray Gators. There's an alligator on the back. Super amazing stuff. Amazing vinyl. Would recommend to anyone who's into Neil Young or is looking to get into some of his live work. Yeah. Up next, I have another live album, Historic Dead by the Grateful Dead. This was pressed without the band's consent in the early 70s. Someone just owned some audience recordings and like soundboard mixes, and were like, I'm gonna put it out because this band's popular. But yeah, it's mainly just Pigpen rapping his butt off, you know, giving us the R&B and blues that the Dead was founded on, essentially. It's a good album. The sound quality is kind of like Earthbound by King Crimson, if you know it. Just side 2 is it sounds pretty bad, but it's not bad. You know, it's good to see the Dead at an interesting part in their history. The Good Morning Little Schoolgirl thing, while the lyrics are perverse, Pigpen absolutely just blasts off and the whole band behind him goes. And it's definitely one for who's interested into the early Dead and Primal Dead. Not to surprise you, but more Grateful Dead to your face. Horrible source tapes once again, but nevertheless a good album for the Dead at an interesting point in their career, taking a little break. Personally, this is, you know, one of my favorite bands right now, so I can't get enough. But on this, you know, the Casey Jones is massive. Jerry is just shredding, and the whole band is just going. And one thing I really do like about this album is that you can see Keith Godchow, their keyboardist at the time, between like 73, 74, and 75, are kind of tasting some more of the jazzy elements, and the chords that Keith Godchow throws in there are very, very intriguing. Up next, different change of pace. Sly and Robbie's 1988 album, The Summit. Some like reggae dub. Reggae's most prolific and famous rhythm section, Sly and Robbie, Sly Dunbar, and I can't forget Robbie Shakespeare. Just amazing stuff. This album is a little different than most of their work. It combines like some electronica and a little bit of dub, more dub than usual, and lots of keyboards by Robbie Lynn, which add amazing texture to the album. I can't recommend it enough. Side 1 is okay, but side 2 is where you can really feel the groove. I picked this up at actually Lost in the Groove Records in Mount Vernon, Washington. I'd check it out, great shop. But yeah, like Rice and Peas, My Turf, like the whole side 2 is really good. But one problem I do have with the vinyl is that it just ends, and I haven't compared it to any like CD, cassette, or digital recording, so I'm gonna have to check that out and see if it's as abrupt as it is on the vinyl. Up next, I've got the Isley Brothers. The heat is on. Some disco, baby. The Isley Brothers, classic disco group. This album is one of their best. It's one of the only ones I've really listened to, so I can't really comment on that. But, it's just like, you get the funky grooving on the first side, and then some ballads on the second side. And it's amazing. Ernie Isley, in my opinion, is one of the greatest, band members of all time, playing drums and guitar. Not at the same time, of course, but he just shreds. And then my favorite thing about this, it's the first pressing, and then you open up the gatefold. It's the whole band. They got their star signs on the bottom. That's some romantic tension for 1970s people. Looking at the Isley Brothers, oh, he's a Pisces. But yeah, I picked this up at my local shop, Pop-Up Records. I can't thank them enough. Their owner, Mitch, is a great guy. Be sure to check them out if you can, someday. Great big selection of older stuff, and there's newer stuff coming in too. Just happy to support local businesses. And then on Friday night, this last week, I listened to Idols to celebrate the release of their new album, Ultramano, which I'm waiting to get on vinyl. I think I get to the shop sometime soon to pick it up. But this is their 2017 album, Joys and Active Resistance. I haven't listened to this one in a while. I've listened to their first album, Brutalism, a lot, which is a lot more rawer. It's fierce, it's brutalism. But this album, it just dives into, human nature, more relevant things. Especially, I'd like to point out the song Samaritans. Talks about toxic masculinity. Something as a male that I've had to learn about and challenge myself with, and I can't recommend reading The Descent of Man by Grayson Perry enough. It's given me a way to ground myself and think with my brain, not my my lower half, and just be respectful and be courteous. And the song just reminds me of my place and the privileges I have as a white male in this society, and I think it's important for people to realize that and see how they can help and not just use their white privilege idly for play on words. But great album, hardcore, punkish, rockish. Band slaps. Saw them live at KXP last year, back in May, after their gig. I couldn't get tickets, but I went to the free show. Amazing stuff. I just, I'm excited to listen to Ultramano and see what they've done next, because it's so different from what I've heard compared to this. And it's just some in-your-face, honest lyrics that, if you listen to them, your mind will think about them, and however you see things, you'll interpret them. Great band. And then, let's see, over here, I have, to be basic, Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. In my opinion, another one of the greatest albums of all time. The first, 3 70s albums of Pink Floyd, Metal, Dark Side of the Moon, and Wish You Were Here, of course, hold a deep place in my heart. This is a 2013 repress, and those albums, they just came to me in early high school, late middle school, and they just kind of opened my mind to music, as basic as that seems and how popular they are. They just realized, they told me, the importance of the album format, and then especially listen to them on vinyl and see how, excuse me, I'm choking on food. I know I have COVID. These albums, they told me the importance of the vinyl format, and what it means to listen to songs sequentially. Excuse me. Anyways, yeah, Wish You're Here. Amazing album, 2013 repress. Let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah. And after that, I listened to Untitled Unmastered by Kendrick Lamar. Outtakes from his album To Pimp a Butterfly. Kendrick Lamar is insane. For outtakes to be this, like, well-developed and, like, according to Top Dog Entertainment and him, that they're just demos, is amazing. I'm really hoping he puts out something soon. This song, once again, reminds me of my white privilege and how fortunate I am to not be profiled by cops and stuff like that. So, I don't know, maybe a few people listen to lyrics, want to hear stories, and understand different experiences throughout our very varying and diverse world. Kendrick Lamar is a good place to start. And that's just one thing. It's like music and art just opens your eyes to so many different things. That's why I love sharing music with people like you on here. And I got 2 more records. First one I haven't listened to yet, but I picked it up Pop Up Records because it has Union of Uranus on it. Canadian DIY hardcore band in the early 90s. Early to late 90s, I'd say, actually. Don't really know much, just then the Discogs page. I'm excited to listen to this. It's just music I like to play. It's in your face. It's aggressive. It's hard to make out the lyrics, but you're having fun, and you're just getting out all that you have. And then, companion piece to that, Union of Uranus's Death by Design. 1997, great album. It's just in-your-face hardcore punk. What else can I say? Personally, like, the drumming it's like prog drumming almost, and the guitars are just Adam Jones, Tool, playing the power chords right in your face. Amazing stuff. And that's all I have. I'll see you guys next week. This is Fulton from LASR, Lute Air Student Radio. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at LASR Radio. Check out our website, plu.edu/laser. And of course, on YouTube, Lute Air Student Radio. Deuces, y'all.